You're listening to The Vale this week from Bro Radio. On tonight's programme, we'll look ahead to next week's Vale of Glamorgan agricultural show with two of the event's organisers. Find out what you can expect as we all head to Penlyn next Wednesday. Elsewhere, Jasmin will speak to Soraya and Chanel behind the Equality for Our Girls campaign that's set to take its message to Parliament next month, calling for greater opportunities for girls in football across Wales. Oliver will chat to Roundtable member Dan Whyte, who's headed from Billericay to Barry, covering over 190 miles this month for mental health charity Calm. He'll speak to him about his history with the Roundtable and his reasons for undertaking this charity walk. Anna Ray Theatre begin their latest production. The Addams Family this week will catch up with some of the cast ahead of opening night. All that plus a roundup of the week's local news, sport and events in and around the Vale of Glamorgan. First though, the Equality for Our Girls campaign will take its message to Parliament next month, calling for greater opportunities for girls in football right across Wales. Our reporter Jasmin has been finding out more.
Campaigners say an unacceptable gap in opportunities for girls football is costing Wales its future talent. I spoke to campaigner Soraya Kelly and former footballer Chanel Edwards about the push for change. Soraya, for listeners who haven't heard about the campaign before, can you tell us about what Equality for Our Girls is and why you started it?
I started it because I've been involved with football. My daughter's 19. She plays for Aston Villa currently, and she is involved in the senior squad already. So, she was on the bench for 5 of the Euro qualifiers. But for me, is watching these young girls. They now have come to the age of 19, and most of them, there's nowhere for them to go because they haven't got that gap or that bridge into seniors. There's so many talented girls that play for Wales. I mean, they beat England under 19s a couple of months ago, so we need to have the same opportunities as England, Scotland, and our boys in Wales. So the boys, they have the 21s. We don't. And that's what I'm saying. That's what we're pushing for, because this came about originally because I'm on a mentoring course with the FAW, which started last year. And it was down to a meeting that I had with my mentor. Said, Soraya, you know so many people. Why don't you get a campaign and take it to Welsh Government? And that's hence the rest is it. It's history.
So, I've just joined on to Soraya's campaign, which is close to home for me. Yeah, I'm an ex-player myself, been through the system. I played for Cardiff City, played for Wales, and I've been through probably the pain that the girls are going through at the moment, which is you reach the age of 18, 19, and there's no real pathway for you to reach the Wales women's senior squad. So I think Soraya's just seen that gap and is trying to bridge it, and we're trying to get everyone on board who can support that and try and find a way to convince the FAW to help us.
You've achieved a great deal already. What progress have the campaign made so far, and what are you most proud of?
I would say, for me personally, it was having the support of the BBC. And when they reached out to me and, they did that article, that was amazing for us. And I'm really proud of that because we were able to have a voice because of these young people. And they don't want to speak out. These girls don't want to speak out, they don't, because they're scared that they're not going to play for their country, or, there might be, backlash from it. Yeah. So, from my point of view, I think it is the BBC article and the BBC coming on board with that is what I'm most proud of.
How has the response been from players, parents and clubs and the wider football community here in the Vale and across Wales?
Well, from my point of view, I've had so many parents coming through, messaging me saying, Soraya, well done. Our girls need this. We need to have this for our girls. So for me and the young people that don't want to speak out, messaging and, reaching out to me, saying thank you for helping us to try and get a voice. And if we can get another organisation or another individual who's got the power to make this happen, then, we just appreciate all the support we can.
Anything for your side, Chanel?
It's interesting because I grew up playing football, so I played at the highest level probably 15 years ago. So it's been a while since I've played football. But all of the girls that I played with, they will have experienced, sadly, a very similar situation where we feel like there's an inequality in the women and men's side. Granted, there's a lot of arguments that can be put forward to why there is the equality, but it doesn't take away from the fact that it's equal opportunities is what we're asking for. We're not asking for all the money in the world to put ourselves at the same level as men's. We understand that the women's game is much further behind, but what we need is some more support to help with that growth of the women's game, and I think a lot of people are acknowledging that, but it's one of those things where it's such a big task that maybe not everyone will step forward and say, oh no, I stand beside you. But if there's someone as strong as Soraya who has got real conviction with it, then people will say, no, actually, this is quite wrong. And I think I will join that. And then more people join, and then more people join. And suddenly it becomes a village of people who are standing up for equality, essentially, which is the long and short of it, really.
Yeah, and I'd just like to add, why can't these girls have the same opportunities as the boys? Why can't they? You know, FAW, amazing stuff they're doing, fantastic for our communities, but let our girls have the same opportunities as our boys. That's all we're asking for.
If someone listening has a daughter who wants to play football or wants to support your campaign, what would you encourage them to do?
Playing football has become much more accessible, thank you to the FAW. And, you know, again, we're not going to shy away from all of the hard work that they've done. So if they wanted to join, it's a case of looking up to local teams that are available. There's plenty of teams now to choose from, which is great from a women's perspective. But yeah, I mean, if they wanted to support the campaign, it would just be a case of, you know, speak about it, tell people about it. If you feel that it's worth mentioning, the more awareness that we can get, even if it's just people sat around at the pub or at a coffee shop, the conversations lead to something special. So hopefully just small conversations at a bigger scale can really make that change for us.
And I would just add to that, really, having Shav on board now, who obviously is the MP, an MS. I think she's amazing. She's very passionate about equality and, you know, the community. So for me, I just think let's talk about it. The more people that talk, the bigger we get. Simple as that, you know, and hopefully there will be that one person that can make that decision. This is going to happen.
And finally, when you look ahead about 5 or 10 years, what would success look like for girls football in Wales?
It's the senior women's squad competing competitively against the most successful teams in the world, playing in World Cups, playing at European Championships and playing at the highest level, because ultimately having that representation for the senior squad means that there's people to look up to. Like when I was playing, I didn't have any female role models, particularly in women's sport, that I had access to watch on TV, for example. And I think to be able to give that to young girls, to encourage them to play, I think that's only going to help grow the sport even more.
And for listeners that are listening right now, what is the last thing that they can do to help you guys and to help the campaign?
Support, tell your friends about it, and let's get, justice, if you like, for our girls in Wales, because they deserve it.
That was Jasmin talking to Soraya and Chanel from the Equality for Our Girls campaign earlier this week. Now let's take a look at some of the top local news stories from the last 7 days with Jamie Pritchard.
Let's start with the Eisteddfod. It's taking place in North Pembrokeshire, and in one single competition for choirs, a total of 800 singers took part. They were members of 14 choirs, which introduces new ones, especially formed ones, community ones, or ones who are new to competing at the Eisteddfod. The largest choir taking part were Corganog, which featured 117 singers in all. Musical director Catherine Williams said the choir was formed back in November last year and consists of pupils and former pupils of Ysgol Gymraeg Bro Morgannwg in Barry. The competition was won by Cor Bryn Owain from Cowbridge, with Cor Godregarth in Cardiff second and Cor Glacier in Cardiff placed in third. Residents across the Vale are being urged to check the bins carefully after a rise in gas canisters being incorrectly placed in household recycling. The council said that collection crews have recently discovered a worrying number of canisters, many still containing gas, inside blue recycling bins. When crushed during the recycling process, these canisters can explode or catch fire, posing a serious risk to both collection teams and workers at recycling facilities. The authority is reminding you that gas canisters should never be placed in household recycling or in general waste, even if they appear empty. Brewers Fair on Barry Waterfront will shut its doors after dinner service on the 7th of September, whilst Walston Castle, the Beefeater in Wenver, will close on the 10th of September. Both are among more than 200 restaurants affected as Whitbread phases out all of its standalone dining brands. Nationwide, the 89-strong Brewers Fair chain will cease on the 7th of September, and trading for Beefeater sites will cease 3 days later. Vale of Glamorgan Council has agreed to carry out a wide-ranging review on how it asks residents to provide evidence of disability, following concerns that current practices may place unnecessary financial pressure on some people. The review, backed by councillors at a recent meeting, will look at when and why GP letters are requested, whether they are the most appropriate form of evidence, and whether alternative documentation could be accepted instead. The decision comes after Vale Food Bank raised concerns that disabled people are often asked to pay for letters from their GP to confirm their condition, even when other official evidence already exists. Meanwhile, Cardiff Airport has once again been recognised for the quality of its support for disabled passengers, keeping its very good rating in the UK Civil Aviation Authority's latest airport accessibility report. The annual assessment, covering April 2025 to March this year, reviews how the UK's busiest airports support travellers with disabilities or reduced mobility. Cardiff Airport maintained the same top-tier rating it achieved last year, placing it among 19 airports nationwide, judged to be delivering very good assistance services. And the Edwardian Rose Garden at Dufferin Gardens has been fully restored after 10 years of work, and this summer it's in full bloom once more. The garden has been restored using Thomas Mawson's original plans and photographs from the early 1900s, with the project involving the reconstruction of hedges, beds and pathways, along with the selection of resilient, disease-resistant plants designed to last. The restoration itself tells a local story, as 1,146 pieces of stone found in nearby farm fields during ploughing were hand-sorted and prepared by volunteers over 407 hours across 10 weeks.
You're listening to The Vale This Week from Bro Radio. Now, later this month, Roundtable member Dan Whyte will be walking from Billericay to Barry, covering over 190 miles for the mental health charity Calm. Oliver Perry spoke to Dan this week about his history with the Roundtable and his reasons for undertaking the charity walk.
So Dan, thanks for coming on the show. This walk that you're doing from Billericay to Barry this month is set to be a tough task at hand, covering 190 miles. You've mentioned your motivation for this walk before, but can you let our listeners know what made you decide to take up this task in the first place?
Yeah, so thanks for having me on. For those that don't know, my name is Daniel Whyte. I am a member of Roundtable Great Britain and Ireland, more specifically Lichfield Roundtable. I joined probably back in 2017 through Barry Roundtable. And we have tables all over the UK, so therefore, when you move away or you move, you can reintegrate with tables. So I found Lichfield Roundtable and continued my tabling career. And since then, I've pushed myself to raise money for Campaign Against Living Miserably. And
as mentioned, you are like a member of the Lichfield Roundtable and Area 35 Roundtable of Britain and Ireland. What sort of work does your role entail, and how does it tie to this challenge that's about to take place?
So this year, I'm fortunate enough to take on the task of being chairman of Lichfield Roundtable, but I also took the task of chairman for Area 35. So there's 11 roundtables within our area, stretching from Stratford upon Avon all the way through to Lichfield, Knowle and Dorridge, across to Tettenhall and Penkridge. So everything in between, all of the West Midlands, basically, Birmingham included, that falls under our remit. And for the last 4 years, I've taken on a walk from Birmingham to the National Memorial Arboretum to raise money for Campaign Against Living Miserably, which are about 28.8 miles. I've done that 4 years running. Since Campaign Against Living Miserably ceased to organise the actual walk, we've sort of put it on and made sure that we've fundraised for them. So
And how important are communities and organisations like roundtables are for mental health across the UK? How important is it truly, like up and down across north and south of
It's a
the
by
country?
yeah, it's so the mental health is a byproduct. We don't actively turn around and promote it. There's other clubs out there, Andy's Man Club is a great example. They are actively pushing the mental health side of things. We are a social-based activities group who get together twice a month, go out and have some fun. The byproduct of that is then, during Christmas we take the Santa sleigh out and we run around with the Santa sleigh. During the fireworks season, we're putting on fireworks displays. During the summer season, we're putting on carnival fetes and stalls, and we will ultimately raise money for the community, and everything that's raised in your local community gets spent in your local community. So everything that Barry Roundtable raises gets spent in Barry. Everything that Lichfield Roundtable gets spent in Lichfield, and so on, so forth. So we do link up with some national causes, and Campaign Against Living Miserably is my chosen charity for Area 35 as chairman this year. So the statistics for the West Midlands is sort of really shocking when you think of it, and that's why I'm pushing myself to walk from Billericay to Barry with a gentle nod to Gavin and Stacey and back to Barry Island, where my tabling started. So.
Yes. And you said as well, like this being done for the charity Calm Campaign Against Living Miserably, which does a lot of work for mental health across the whole UK. You said a little bit about the details of why you chose this charity with statistics to do with mental health in the West Midlands. Could you go a little bit further into why you've chosen this charity over other ones related to mental health?
Yeah, absolutely. So I found myself on the wrong side of a railway bridge, and I was saved by Roundtable. Ultimately, Campaign Against Living Miserably was the organisation I was referred to help me out and give me the mental health that is needed. So the signpost in there, the telephone number is 0800 585858. They are open between 5 p.m. and 12 o'clock midnight. And what sets them apart is that they're a paid professional service. So when you need somebody at a time of crisis, you can go through to them, and if you need a doctor or psychiatric nurse or somebody to speak to you about money worries or a debt advisor or money counselor, they are paid professionals on the other end of the job. They finish their 9 to 5 job and then they pick up the phone for the charity called Calm, and ultimately that's where the money fundraising is so vital. There are other mental health charities out there that are open 24/7, such as Samaritans, so I signpost them as well as Calm. But Campaign Against Living Miserably is being a paid support service. Then the fundraising for them is crucial. So I try and do as much as I can for them.
If you don't mind me going back to the topic of the roundtable, like you said as well, like the roundtable came to a point of your life where, as you said, you're on the side of a railway bridge. What did Barry Roundtable Group first mean to you when you first joined, and has it inspired you to do further work in the roundtable communities with your work?
Absolutely, yeah. So I owe quite a lot to Barry Roundtable. I got taken under their wing. I was assisted with food and clothing, etc., that I needed at the time. I got my life back on track, and ultimately coming 4th to December, I had a knock on the door from the chairman with three tablers with a car full of furniture and clothes and toys and everything that I could wish for my daughter. They give me a bed, they give me blinds and curtains for my flats, fill my cupboard full of food, and ultimately took away the decision of me spending money on Christmas presents or food to keep myself and my daughter going. So I owe quite a lot to Barry Roundtable. I'll always be indebted to them. But like I said, they are a great asset, a true asset to the community. Such as other roundtables up and down the country. We all do incredible, extraordinary things, but we are just ordinary gentlemen.
I think it's a story that a lot of people very much very resonate with and like understand the true work that communities like the Roundtable do for so many people that were in similar positions as yourself. With as well this campaign, one of the big messages that are being pushed is the "Don't Camel Yourself" message. Can you tell us a little bit more about that campaign and those who may not have heard of it before?
Yeah, so Roundtable is worldwide. There's over 30,000 members worldwide, and the "Don't Camel Yourself" movement originates from Roundtable South Africa. And I was privileged enough to be on a trip in South Africa in 2023, and I was presented one of the "Don't Camel Yourself" jackets. And it's all about standing out, being seen, being heard. Hence the luminous bright colours, etc. And basically, as a conversation starter, it's, do you want to be seen or do you not want to be seen? Because you're lit in luminous colours. And obviously, you know, it's a great talking point. So therefore, it then highlights the fact that men hide behind themselves. They don't like to open up, and they don't like to talk as much as they possibly could or should. And the Don't Camo Yourself movement originated in South Africa, and I've been a proud ambassador now for the last 4 years to bring it to the UK, and I've officially got it over the line with the Roundtable Great Britain and Ireland organisation, and I've been proud to bring it to Europe and push it beyond our borders.
It's great work that like yourself are doing, and there's a great campaign that you're going to do for this walk now. You've received so much, like, vast amounts of backing from many people across the country. Your GoFundMe, as of time recording, is currently on £3,500. I hope that this walk will continue leading the way, like leading up to the day of the walk, and also lead to further conversations of mental health, not just in Barry, not just in Lichfield, but all across the UK.
Yeah, absolutely. So the GoFundMe page there, it has got pledges from roundtables up and down the UK. So the pledges, once obviously they come in, will take my total up over £6,000. However, ultimately, in the last 4 years, I've raised £20,000 for Campaign Against Living Miserably. In my year of chairman, it's basically all out, and I'm looking to raise around about £20,000 for them in 12 months of fundraising. So it's not just the walk that I'm doing from Billericay to Barry. It's also a 15,000-foot skydive. I bought a car for £1, and I'm driving that down to Nice in September as part of like a £500 banger rally. I've got the Lost Hours walk, which again I've mentioned previously. We're doing in October when the clocks go forward. We walk through the dead of night from Birmingham to the National Memorial Arboretum, and we lay a wreath there on behalf of Roundtable for those that are affected by suicide. And they're possibly going to shave my beard off in March. I'm not feeling too good about that one. That's probably the one that I'm not looking forward to. But yes, it's a whole year of fundraising for myself.
That was Oliver chatting to Dan, Roundtable member, walking 190 miles later this month for mental health charity Calm. You can read his full story on the news pages at broradio.fm. Now, with a roundup of the week's sports here in the Vale of Glamorgan, here's Mike Fowler.
In football, Barry Town United returned to winning ways in the Cumbria Premier with a 2-1 victory at home to Cambrian United on Friday, and that result leaves them 4th in the league. They next play Flint away on Friday before returning to Jenner Park to take on rivals Cardiff Met on Friday the 14th. Lantwick Major in the Cumbria South, they lost 3-0 at home to Pure Swansea, which leaves them 16th in the league, and they next travel to Avonlido on Friday. And also in the Cumbria South, Carradili, they lost 4-3 away to Carnarvon, and that puts them 10th in the Cumbria South, and they next host Anishere Albion on Friday. And Barry Town United women's fixtures have been released for the upcoming Addams Premier, and they start their campaign on the 6th of September at home to Britain Ferry. And FC Barry, they play their first ever game on home soil at the Reservoir Field tonight, and that's against Lantwick Major as a friendly. This is the first ever game that they've played for the football part of the Barry RFC Sports and Community Hub. And in cricket, in the 100, the Welsh Fire in the men's competition are on form, and they're currently sitting second in the league. And the women's side of the competition, Welsh Fire are 5th. And in rugby, Barry Rugby Football Club, they start their pre-season games with a friendly at home against Glamorgan Wanderers as they prepare for life in Division 2 East Central. And for more sport, listen to the Monday Night Sports Show from 7 p.m, or listen again or to any shows that you've missed on broradio.fm or download the Bro Radio app.
You're listening to The Vale this week from Bro Radio. Now, the Vale of Glamorgan Agricultural Show takes place next Wednesday, with thousands expected to descend on the Penlyn estate near Cowbridge. Sarah Fenner is the show's General Secretary, and Helen Simmons is the show's Chairman, and joined me earlier on in the day. So, Sarah, Helen, thank you for joining us. You're both on site at the showground now. How are preparations going for next week?
It's amazing how it all comes together. It starts as a greenfield site. A few weeks ago, there were still sheep on here, and now it's looking like the skeleton of a showground. There are people arriving all the time. There are marquee builds going on as we speak. There's mowing. There's containers arriving. Our vehicles are coming in and out. It's really is heaving. It's like Piccadilly Circus. But the big night now for us will be tomorrow night. We've got all of our stewards and volunteers, members of other clubs and young farmers coming here tomorrow evening to help us really nail the final prep. And if you popped up on Friday morning, it would look very much like the showground, just minus the animals and the people. So it's a huge community and voluntary effort to get this far, but we're making really good progress.
And for anyone who doesn't know about the show, tell us a bit about its history, because it's a 250-year plus history here in the Vale of Glamorgan, isn't it?
That's right. So 1772 is the year of establishment. So that's fairly staggering. We're the second oldest in Wales, really annoyingly the second oldest, because we're the second oldest by only 1 year. Breck beat us there, but we don't like to dwell on that. But as far as GB history is concerned, we're right up there amongst the oldest. And it's been in various formations, but as you know, back here in Penlyn for the last 5 years.
And tell us about some of the things that people can discover if they come to the showground in Penlyn next week.
Well, the thing I'm really excited about, to be honest, is we've got these Red Devils coming in for their parachute drop into the main ring. They'll be landing here in the Coconut main ring at 4:15. And we've just been doing a little bit of prep work with them this morning. As you imagine, there's quite a lot of detail to line up for that. But that's going to be really exciting. I think probably one of the most exciting ring displays we've had in a really long time. And that goes alongside, the things that make up the show, the dogs and the horticulture and the countryside marquee, the livestock, the show jumping, the horse showing, the craft marquees. We've got a brilliant local food court. It's all happening here. Things like the home produce, you'd recognise that if you'd come to the show 150 years ago. It's really important that element of heritage is there. But every year there's something a little bit different, something to freshen it up that just interests people coming to the show, we hope.
And last year, it's gone.
Sorry, I was going to say, and then we've got our sort of stage area up near the food court with a series of bands, and local choirs are going to be singing as well. So again, lots of entertainment for the family.
I know last year there was a big drive on free activities to make sure that people come to the showground, get the most thing out of the day. And that's something I'm sure continues this year as well, with lots of free activities when people get to the site to explore and have a go at.
You're quite right. So what we've done is we've last year we started making a note of all the things that you could do, and we called it 50 free things to do at the show. And once you paid your admission, they're activities. It's there. It's open to anyone who wants to join in. And we've got extra things from last year. So we've got, off the top of my head, there's willow weaving. There's some woodland crafts. We've got some pottery, got some activities for families in particular, but also for adults. So there's some bits of jewellery making and so on. And as I say, some of these woodland crafts and woodwork activities, there's lots there for everyone once they've come in. But really, once you're here, there's a plenty to keep you occupied for the whole day, going around the site. It's jammed, and there's one thing after another. Every time you take another 10 steps, you've got something new to look at.
And there's lots of talk at the moment around farming, agriculture and food. How important is it for you to bring people together, not just from that world of agriculture, but from outside here as well, to kind of celebrate agriculture, farming, food, and educate people a little bit too?
That's one of the primary focuses of the society, actually. People think that it's just about the show, but it's not. It really is an interface between town and country, and for people to come to the show, learn about where their food's from, learn about how things work. We'll have representatives here from the NFU talking about some of the big issues that are going on at the minute. The police are joining us because they've been doing an awful lot of work with Operation Galileo, and that's in team with local farmers as well. They'll be looking to get out some of their information, and we'll be enjoying working with them. And Operation Galileo is around illegal hare coursing and so on, and other activities to do with poaching. So it's they've got a real crime drive that they'll be talking about at the show. They'll be using it as an opportunity to integrate with people too.
And finally, in your words, why should people come along and visit the Vale of Glamorgan Agricultural Show next week?
It's a great day out for all the family to come and experience rural life in the Vale.
Brilliant. Sarah, Helen, we're very much looking forward to being at the showground again next week. Thank you for chatting to us.
Thank you very much indeed. We look forward to seeing you.
And the Vale of Glamorgan Agricultural Show is at Penlyn Estate on Wednesday, the 12th of August, and Bro Radio will be live from the showground throughout the day, bringing you everything going on and what you need to know. You're listening to The Vale this week from Bro Radio. Now, the county is full to many great amateur dramatic organisations working to put on multiple productions across the year, one of which is Array Theatre Productions, with their latest production, The Addams Family, ongoing this week at Rhoose Community Centre. And I caught up with some of the cast earlier this month.
Leanne and Matthew join us in the studio. Thanks for joining us.
No problem, thank you.
So, first of all, for both of you, how did you get into performing and doing amateur dramatic theatre?
Well, for me, I pretty much started off in youth theatre pretty much years ago, and then it was pretty much when I got close to the senior department of youth theatre, where someone, the musical director, pulled me aside and said, "Hey, we're doing a musical production with local theatre. Would you be interested?" And I said, "Yeah, of course." And I pretty much sort of, I think I pretty much just sort of grew up in local musical theatre.
Amazing. And for you, Leanne?
And for me, so I did a few productions at school, which was a really long time ago. And then I went to see a production of Grease, which you weren't in Grease, but you were in Avenue Q, weren't you?
I wasn't Avenue Q at the time.
I went to see a production of Grease, and they advertised in the programme for Little Shop of Horrors, which is like my favourite film and my favourite musical. So I auditioned for that, which was Array's first production, and then I've stayed since. I was going to just do Little Shop of Horrors, but I'm now on my sixth one.
It was a good production as well.
Yeah.
I think it was the first one. I think we all got involved in that one as our first one with Array Theatre.
And what do you love about being part of Array Theatre and being part of these productions and creating this thing for people to come and see?
For me, it's reignited like my love of performing, because I hadn't done it since I was, I think, about 14. So starting again when I was much older. It's kind of, I've really got to enjoy it, and I've really got to enjoy the people, and everyone gets on really well. It's a really supportive environment, so that helps as well.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same with me, but I think it's more the community side of local theatre, just the idea that anyone from anywhere who has pretty much like a love and a passion for musical theatre or stage productions in general can just sort of come together just to create something absolutely spectacular.
And many people will know of the Addams Family TV and films in various productions and things they've seen, but tell us a bit about the story of this particular show that you're putting on.
Well, the Addams Family, as it says in the title, is about a very particular family. We have the father, Gomez Addams, his wife, Morticia, their children, Wednesday and Pugsley, and their uncle Fester, their grandma Addams, and their zombie-esque butler Lurch. And there are a sort of a satire of an American family, where they're basically a group of people who enjoy some stuff that is gothic or twisted that most quote-unquote normal people would call crazy. Stuff like getting into sword fights, they torture each other, or they would just like to blow things up. But underneath all that, they're still a loving family who support each other. And in the musical, Wednesday Addams pretty much starts to fall in love with a quote-unquote normal teenage boy. And they decide to get married in secret. But they are basically worried of what their respective families would react. So they decide, with the help of Gomez Addams, to get both families together, just to get to know each other. And then, well, the rest of the musical is basically seeing both families' reactions to each other. But it's also it's a chaotic but also a very loving, charming musical.
Yeah.
And there are lots of great characters in a show like this, so tell us about the characters you're both playing.
Well, I play Gomez Addams, the patriarch of the family. He's essentially the lovable, supportive dad, but he does have a sort of a competitive side. But he respects and loves and admires his wife. But he's also a very lovable father to Wednesday and Pugsley.
And I play the grandma, so Grandma Addams is 102. She's got various diseases. She is in a world of her own. She's got a pet rat, and I'm basically chaos incarnate. So I just pop in and say some crazy stuff and then disappear a lot of the time. But it's a great character to play.
It sounds like a great show. Why should people listening to this come along and see the show when it's at Rhoose Community Centre?
I think it is a musical, but the story is it's a chance to see characters that everyone kind of knows in a different setting and with a kind of different dynamic, with Gomez stuck between supporting his daughter but also supporting his wife. It's very funny. It's over the top. It's got lots of crazy props, and I think it's something that can be enjoyed by the whole family.
Yeah, it's really, really funny, but it's also very, very heartwarming at the same time. And the musical numbers are absolutely incredible. If you're definitely someone who's like, I'm not really too sure about this, go check it out. And trust me when I say you will really enjoy the musical numbers.
And Array Theatre's production of Addams Family is at Rhoose Community Centre from the 6th to the 8th of August. More details at arraytheatre.co.uk. Right, before we go, let's have a roundup of what's going on this week across the Vale of Glamorgan. On Thursday, 6th of August, Penarth Pier Pavilion will be hosting Elijah, Jeffrey and Eddie Gripper as they present a relaxed morning of live music. It'll feature original songs written, composed and recorded by the duo alongside much-loved jazz standards. The performances offer the perfect soundtrack to a leisurely brunch. It's a 2-hour concert. It starts at 11 a.m. with details available at penarthpierpavilion.ticketsolve.com. On Friday, Vale Youth Service is hosting a fun-filled day at Penarth Clifftops, running from 11 until 2:30 p.m. The day is going to feature a wide range of activities for children and young people, including kite flying, arts and crafts, sports and beach games. All are invited along to get involved, make new friends and enjoy a fantastic day by the sea. Elsewhere, Billboard Ensemble are celebrating 30 years of entertaining in Barry and the Vale of Glamorgan with 3 concerts on the 6th, 7th and 8th of August at the Memo Arts Centre in Barry. They promise to be an evening to remember and a journey through 30 years of Billboard's musicals and memorable songs and stories. You can visit memoartcentre.co.uk to book and to find out more. Elsewhere, the Vale of Glamorgan Sports Development Team is organising a series of free summer of fun events where children can explore and try a range of exciting sports activities in a relaxed, welcoming and fun environment. And the next event is this Friday, the 7th of August from 1:30 until 2:30 p.m. That's at Barry Rugby Club Fields, with more events to come over the month of August. To find out more, search for Vale Sports Development Team online. Elsewhere, Barry Fire Station is hosting a charity car wash this Saturday, the 8th of August. It runs from 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. and the day will raise funds in support of Barrytown United's under-6 football team and the Firefighters charity. You can pop along and help support 2 fantastic causes with this event. And finally, on Friday the 7th and Saturday the 8th, Marco's Cafe on Barry Island Seafront is hosting a charity rowathon in aid of Marie Curie Hospice in Penarth. People of all ages and abilities are welcome to take on the row machines to raise money for the amazing Marie Curie Hospice. The event will start at 8 a.m. and runs until late each day. For more local events, visit broradio.fm/events, where you can also list your events for free. And that there was the Vale this week from Bro Radio. As always, if you've got a story to share, get in touch with us via email at news@broradio.fm. You can hear the show on your radio each Wednesday from 7 p.m. or search Vale This Week where you get your podcasts. I'm Nathan Spackman. Thanks for listening.